Game of Thrones is tomorrow.
Game of Thrones, Game of Thrones. You know, somebody asked me the other day what was the television show that was most like Game of Thrones, most like Washington. They said, was it Veep? Was it Secretary, Madam Secretary? And I said Game of Thrones.
Okay, well, all of us readily admit that we have not watched it, but millions of Americans are getting ready for the final season of Game of Thrones. Democrats, though, now fighting their own cutthroat battle for the throne of the Democrat Party. Well written there.
Here to draw the parallels is Michael Loftus, comedian and founder of the Loftus Party. Welcome, Michael.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me.
All right, so break this down for us. So let's start with Hillary versus Bernie in 2016.
Well, when Hillary Clinton starts saying that her real life looks like Game of Thrones, believe her. Believe her. She is capable of doing some dastardly deeds. Look what she did to Bernie in 2016. Like, she totally stabbed him in the back.
Kill or be
and
killed.
He's just like, shame, shame, shame. It is kill or be killed. And just like Game of Thrones, in politics, there's tons of surprises. Unless you're Hillary, then you know exactly what's going to happen.
Does Bernie get his revenge, though, in the Democrat Game of Thrones?
You know what? I think he tries. But his day has passed. He doesn't have that crazy look in his eyeball. A lot of these Democrats have gone total White Walker. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Swalwell.
Right.
They all get this weird look behind their eye where they're like, they're not human anymore. They're just socialist, just climbing over the walls trying to get free stuff.
You mentioned the socialists from the Bronx, so let's get into the inter-party struggle there. Schumer and Pelosi, sort of the establishment Democrats, against Bernie and AOC, both of whom we just mentioned.
How do you compete? How do you compete? Like, I've very rarely felt bad for Nancy Pelosi, but at least she tries to do math. I mean, she knows they can't pay for these programs. And then you got AOC and Bernie Sanders just talking to their minions. Go, my children, it'll all be free. It'll all be free. And they're just attacking, just like the White Walkers from Game of Thrones.
I mean, they're just, you give them credit. They're just out. They're saying we are socialists. We want the Green New Deal. We want open borders. So is that playing with people in the way that the cloak and dagger of the establishment, they like to hem their words and play the inter-party politics?
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing cloak and dagger about it. It's really just Bernie and AOC going, I think it should be free. You should take it. And maybe like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she's kind of like that Melisandre from Game of Thrones, the Red Witch, you know, who like uses scare tactics. You know, the night is dark and full of terrors. The world is ending in 12 years. We got to tear down all the buildings and get rid of the planes and cows.
Oh, yeah. She would say she's not doing any of that stuff. She's just happy-go-lucky, so we don't want to attack her.
Yeah. Next up, Michael.
Yes.
Yeah.
Michael, next up we have Trump's battle. 2020 is coming.
He is America's Jon Snow. We need him. He is the coolest member of the Night's Watch. Winter is coming, November 2020, and just like Game of Thrones, Mr. President, build that wall.
Oh, so they build a wall in Game of Thrones? See, I'm learning right now.
Listen, you're so far behind the curve. If you don't know there's a giant wall on Game of Thrones, you should just put yourself in a coma tonight.
Okay. Or maybe I'll binge watch.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
All right.
Michael,
Next time you come on, we'll ask you about the Loftus Party and how that fits into Game